as I mentioned at the start of the show, we are nearing a potentially enormous strike in a summer of incredibly important labor action. We've been discussing this on this program for a while. The UAW's contract with the big three automakers, Stellantis, aka Fiat Chrysler, Ford, and GM, expires at 11:59 p.m. A week from today, so the 14th of September, which is a Thursday. Shawn Fain, the leader of the UAW, has been refreshingly strong and militant in his support of the rank and file. Around 150,000 workers fall under this here. This is him on CNBC, where he's asked an interesting question, to say the least, about the UAW withholding its endorsement for President Biden so far. And the framing of this is peculiar by the interviewer, but great response by Shawn.
I'm going to wrap it up, and I hate to go into politics. It's an ugly world out there, Shawn, but it is relevant here. I want to ask you this. Yeah. You guys, I think, have withheld your endorsement so far for President Biden in a second term. Do you worry? He said, I'm super pro-union, President Biden. Do you worry? And does it go into your thinking that a strike could embarrass President Biden?
I don't think a strike would embarrass President Biden. I think a strike can reaffirm to him of where the working class people in this country stand. And it's time for politicians in this country to pick a side. Either you stand for a billionaire class where everybody else gets left behind, or you stand for the working class. The working class people vote. And as far as our endorsements go, as we've said, our endorsements are going to be earned, not freely given, and actions are going to dictate who we endorse. And I know the other candidate, wanted to come out the other day and talk about how our members are crazy for not backing him. But, there's two things I want to talk about with that person real quick, if I can have a moment. It's just, I'll never forget leading up to the 2016 election, that candidate talking about doing a rotation where they need to come to places like Michigan and the Midwest and send our jobs somewhere else where they pay less money and make us be begging for our jobs down the road. That's not something that works for working class people, and sure as hell not for UAW workers. And he was on the air the other day saying that encouraging people to stop paying union dues. So that's not someone that stands for a good standard of living.
So that's a perfect response, because he rejects the ridiculous framing, as if Shawn would be concerned about embarrassing Biden. Oh God, is Biden getting a little red in the face because 150,000 workers are striking for a livable wage? Oh no, what will the UAW president do? As if he's concerned with that in the slightest. But then he takes a shot at Trump there, and makes it quite clear that Trump is not a candidate they would consider supporting. The endorsement will come if Biden chooses to stand on the side of workers here, and it won't come if he doesn't choose to be vocal about this until after these negotiations and potential strike come to their conclusion and the workers get what they deserve. And that is just how leverage works. So if Biden wants their endorsement, Biden better do something about it, even though there was an article yesterday, I believe in the Post or the Washington Post or the Times, about how Biden doesn't want to weigh in. He doesn't feel it's his duty to do so. Well, you want the endorsement? Maybe weigh in. But putting the stupid political angle aside for just 1 second, because this is really about workers and the standard of living in this country. What Shawn and Fain and the UAW are asking for is pretty standard. The auto industry in this country is around 3% of the economic output. It is a infamously important industry. It got bailed out in 2008 based on its cachet in that way, and workers made massive sacrifices in that time period, because back when the crash happened, workers in the auto industry in the UAW did away with one of their most important protections in their agreement, which was COLA, cost of living adjustments, which is essentially how workers get their raises. COLA, the cost of living adjustment, had been a part of UAW contracts since the 70s. It was a hallmark of what made, the auto worker the quintessential American job for someone in this country to get ahead and have a middle-class life. Now it's the quintessential American job in the saddest way possible because their jobs are getting shipped overseas and workers are being forced to take second jobs to keep up with the cost of living because that COLA protection, cost of living adjustments, were done away with because the workers did the big three automakers a solid in their estimation by saying, hey, the economy's falling apart. We'll make this sacrifice in order to keep our jobs, to keep things going. And they said, the bosses, hey, don't worry. Once this storm is over, we will we'll bring back COLA after we suspend it. And they still haven't. It is the year 2023. CEOs are getting massive bonuses at these big three automakers and still no COLA. So why would these workers who have been lied to over and over and over again since the crash, when they said, we'll bring the cost of living adjustment back, the most important thing to achieving wage gains as these contracts are constructed, we will bring it back, but they haven't done so, and they've broken this promise multiple times as they ship jobs to Mexico, as they threaten to do so in the press to prevent a strike. Why would Shawn Fain and the UAW trust these automakers unless they agree to these demands? So I am thrilled to see a union president here back up their rank and file like this, and making and using their leverage in a way that I think is justified 100 times over, given how screwed over these workers have been by the automakers. So pay raises is part of what they're demanding. 32-hour work week, which is considered ambitious, but I think it's awesome that they're starting from that point. 32-hour work week with 40 hours of pay. They want traditional pensions for new hires, which I think is really great as well, because we know that the 401k model has been a failure to provide retirement for people in a way that is sustainable and robust. So there are a bunch of other demands, but long story short, solidarity with the UAW workers ahead of the deadline next week, and this is one of the most important stories of the year, and certainly of the next few weeks.